Hey guys, welcome back to the VHS Revolution show. I'm David Schumann. This is a separate video just for the rankings of the Mission Impossible movies. If that's all you're interested in, if you don't feel like watching our entire review, you can just watch this video where we rank all 8 movies. So here's my conversation with my friend Mike Klemak, where we rank all 8 Mission Impossible movies. There you go. Okay, Mike, let's move on to our ranking of all 8 movies. I got to say, overall, I love the Mission Impossible franchise. My family and I rewatched all the movies over the last 2 weeks leading up to The Final Reckoning. And for the most part, they are all just a joy to watch. Is there anything you want to say about the Mission Impossible franchise as a whole?
Yeah, I agree. I think, it has gone through a couple of different stylistic choices based upon who was directing. And then it kind of became, when we entered the McQuarrie era, it became this thing that, months before the movie came out, we started seeing little featurettes in movie theaters about the stunt happening. And so it became its own entity. So it's interesting how it's
no pun intended.
Yeah. But how Tom Cruise's career and these films go hand in hand, and how they've evolved together and push the limits together. So I do thoroughly enjoy the Mission Impossible movies, and certainly, each one has at least something to enjoy about it, even the ones that might be lower ranked.
Okay, well, let's start with number 8. What's your number 8 pick?
Okay, so starting at number 8, which will probably be in line with you, is Mission Impossible 2. Interestingly enough, when it came out, Chad and I went and saw it in university, and we were really big John Woo fans. Mm-hmm. And when it came out, for, a 21-year-old guy having, Metallica do the title song, I remember really, really liking it. Mm-hmm. As I've gotten older, I've been able to see the giant size holes in the movie, and it kind of exists on its own. It almost doesn't feel like a Mission Impossible movie.
Exactly.
It feels like a John Woo movie that has Ethan Hunt.
Yeah, if it was just an action movie with Tom Cruise as another character with none of the Mission Impossible stuff, maybe it would be good and enjoyable. But as a Mission Impossible movie, you're right. It's so tonally different from any of the other ones, especially the first one. Mm-hmm. And, watching it again, I kind of like the melodrama, the John Woo stuff, all the melodrama, the slow-mo, the doves, the cuts to the...
Gotta have the doves.
There's a lot of mask stuff in 2, which I guess is fun as mask stuff goes, but it makes no sense. A lot of double guns. Tom is shooting a lot of guns. There's a lot of sparks and papers exploding, all the John Woo stuff. It just doesn't feel right for Mission Impossible. And yes, the motorcycle chase sequence is great at the end. The gymnastics fighting feels clunky and kind of dumb. And it's the only Mission Impossible movie where I don't care about any of the characters. I don't care what happens. It's just action for action's sake.
The only part of it that does feel like a Mission Impossible movie is when he recruits, the first recruitment of Nia Nordhoff Hall, where there's the flamenco dancing and that music is there, and then they're kind of watching each other, and and then he's setting off the alarm and doing that stuff. It's like, okay, this feels like it. Also, it did the first Mission Impossible movie, even though he's on the train. This one started that trend of like, okay, Tom Cruise is doing this rock climbing stuff by himself. And I remember there's a big lead up about that. Mm-hmm. And so the lead up was far more Mission Impossible related. And then in the movie, there's this very interesting song choice for it as he's climbing. And it's like,
totally,
my grandma and your grandma.
It's so weird.
And you're like, what is this?
Yeah. I will say the one thing that I actually like about the movie is Tom Cruise's performance. It's like the closest he'll ever get to like a James Bond type character.
Yeah.
Romantic, very good looking. It's like maybe the handsomest he's been in a movie. Mm. And there's a few scenes where Dougray Scott is wearing Ethan's mask. And so Tom Cruise is playing Dougray Scott as Ethan.
Yeah.
and he's kind of dark and
Yeah.
like intense and evil, and there's this look in his eyes that's different from Ethan's. And Tom Cruise plays that really, really well.
Yeah.
What's your number 7 pick?
My number 7 pick is the follow-up after Mission Impossible 2, MI3.
Wow.
It falls low not because of anything other than it felt like it was still trying to find its feet. Obviously, J.J. Abrams, very talented man. Philip Seymour Hoffman, amazing performance. But there's this clunkiness to it where it seemed like it didn't really know how exactly it was going to get there. So it threw a bunch of pasta at the wall and saw what stuck, and most of it did. But honestly, because it seemed like it was scraping for its identity, that's why it ranks so low for me. And again, the fact that it comes in at number 7 should not make it seem like I don't enjoy it. Like, it's still a great film. But Philip Seymour Hoffman, if it was just based on his contribution to the film, it would be higher. But there are other things that I think work against that for me.
My number 7 is The Final Reckoning. I have only seen it once. The other ones I've seen multiple times. So perhaps on other viewings it'll be different, but I was very disappointed, as we've talked about. But again, maybe that'll change when I see it again. But for now, it's number 7. What's your number 6?
Number 6 is Dead Reckoning. Yeah. And we talked enough about it earlier on in the episode, but to reiterate, it was a lot of setup, not a lot of payoff. It was establishing new villains. It was establishing a whole new crisis. It was establishing new team members or potential team members or allies or antagonists. You know, it was trying to set up everything for Final Reckoning. It was almost too much. There was just too much being thrown at you. You didn't know, like with the AI replicating Benji's voice, you didn't know who Gabriel was and how he tied in. You didn't know why Shea Wiggum's character was suddenly like these militant government agents suddenly start coming out of the woodwork, and you're like, where is all this coming from? And so it was just so much, which again, like I said, with Final Reckoning, most of that gets resolved and you understand where it was going, but give us some nuggets of why the fuck we're being subjected to just like a barrage of information.
It's my number 6 as well. For me, the thing that almost kills the movie, pun or no pun intended, is the killing of Elsa in Dead Reckoning. It is, I think, a huge miscalculation on the part of the filmmakers. And I know that Rebecca Ferguson wanted to leave the franchise and it took up too much of her time and all that kind of stuff. But the way that they did it, her character seems totally mishandled in the movie. She barely has any dialogue. It's hinted at that her and Ethan have this like genuine romantic connection. I think that they really underestimated how invested we as the audience were in Ilsa as a character and in Ilsa and Ethan's relationship.
Well, and also it felt like it was a little vindictive on the part of the filmmakers. Like, Rebecca Ferguson wanted to leave, and so we're not going to give you the send-off you deserve. We're just going to end you.
Yeah.
It's not going to be talked about again.
Yeah. And they always do this thing. They always do this thing in movies where a major character dies, they spend one scene grieving, and then they just move on.
Yeah, like she's not even mentioned once in Final Reckoning.
No.
It's like she
ridiculous.
Never existed.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
And I find, I compared Dead Reckoning to Spectre earlier, and I find that they're similar in the ways that they have all the elements are there. You know, the action scenes, the car chases, and there's this romantic interest, Grace, played by Haley Atwell, who, for me, I never liked Léa Seydoux in the Bond movies. I never thought that her and Daniel Craig had much chemistry.
Yeah.
Their love story never really gelled for me. And I feel the same way with Grace in Mission Impossible. She seems kind of just like forced in there. And by the end, when they're like touching each other's faces as if they have this like deep connection, I just never bought it. And then the cliff jump I said before, it's so goofy how he rides his motorcycle all the way up the mountain only to jump off the mountain.
Yeah.
And they couldn't have come up. I feel like there could have been some cool sequence where Ethan has to like ride his motorcycle on top of the train or something, like jump off something and then like land on top of the train or something like Jackie Chan did or something like that. That could have been a cool stunt. Like, why does he have to like fall through the skies just to land on the train in this obviously fake kind of set, goofy, cartoonish way? Yeah. Parts of it work and parts of it don't. But okay, what's your number 5 pick?
Number 5 is Rogue Nation. It has a lot of cool shit in it.
Yeah.
You know, Jeremy Renner is in it. Rebecca Ferguson is in it. Sean Harris's Lane is in it. Mm-hmm. The stunt where he jumps into the underwater server thing.
Yeah.
That I loved.
Mm-hmm.
The stunt at the beginning of the film when he's hanging off the plane
is
one of those stunts where you're like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why is he like, it just seems like this is going to be a cool stunt.
Yeah.
But, you know, I love that Ilsa Faust and William Brandt are part of this movie. And this was Chris McQuarrie's second of the series, right?
First?
Yeah. First of the series. So I love that he's putting his stamp on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that we're getting this partnership between him and Cruise, and we're seeing that. They really took the series in a new direction, and it felt like something new and exciting.
Rogue Nation ranks a little bit higher for me. My number 5 pick is Mission Impossible 3, which I like a lot and also recognize its flaws. Like, I don't disagree with anything that you said. It's still trying to find its identity. It's different from all the other ones in the way that a lot of it takes place in the United States, which is different. I think only the first one has the Langley sequence in the United States. All the other ones are completely international. And if you were watching Alias and Lost at the time that Mission Impossible 3 came out, it feels very J.J. Abrams from that time period. There's a lot of like camera stuff that he employed on those shows, the lens flares, the snap zooms. There's a lot of like shaky camera work. Even the sequence where Julia has to revive Ethan is a direct lift from an episode of Lost where Charlie was found hanging by Jack and Kate, and Jack had to revive Charlie and by like slamming on his chest, and the music takes over and the sound drops out. It's like the exact same sequence, and it's actually much more effective in Lost. But I like a lot of the storyline in Mission Impossible 3. I think the idea of humanizing Ethan by giving him this wife character was a good idea. It was almost like a little too grounded. It's like the differences between 1 and 2 and 3 are so crazy.
Yeah.
That like, fortunately, by the time we got to 4, there was some consistency. But I like Julia as a character. I think Michelle Monaghan does a great job. Lawrence Fishburne is really strong. Billy Crudup. My favorite sequence in Mission Impossible 3, well, 2, I love the freeway ambush where they blow up the cars and they're taking Davian from the truck, and there's the missiles are getting fired and Ethan's running around sliding and grabbing machine guns, and it's all really well executed. But my favorite sequence is actually where Ethan pretends to be Owen, and we get these like dual Philip Seymour Hoffmans, and the way that that's all handled with the team and the timing is really, really fun. The third one, Maggie Q and Jonathan Rhys-Meyers are the team, but the team aspect doesn't really gel until later on. It's a good movie, and it kind of, for me, it falls somewhere in the middle. Okay, what's your number 4 pick?
Oh, you know what? I messed up. So 5 would have been Final Reckoning. I forgot to put it in there.
Oh, funny.
And then Rogue Nation.
Okay.
Which is the order that it would have gone in. I just had the old list.
Yeah, got it.
So Mission Impossible 2, Mission Impossible 3, Dead Reckoning, Final Reckoning, Rogue Nation.
Rogue Nation would be your fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Rogue Nation is my four as well. The thing, just to kind of build on what you said, I love the addition of Alec Baldwin to the series. He lasts for a couple of movies. Same with Rebecca Ferguson. I think her character is maybe the second or third most interesting character of the entire series. I love what Rebecca Ferguson does. She's beautiful and sexy, but also super badass. And both like serves as this kind of like romantic interest for Ethan, but also his equal. And there's just so much great stuff that's done with her in that movie. And the thing I love about Rogue Nation, the filmmaking sometimes is a little, it's great for like the first hour. And then like the second half, there's like a few too many talky scenes where characters are like sitting at benches or, you know, in like headquarters, or there's just like a few too many like shot, reverse shot, reverse shot, talking about exposition and the plot and Ethan and this and that. And until we get to the action of the finale.
And that finale is very well done.
It's very cool. And I love the thing that's great about this finale of Rogue Nation is that it doesn't go big. It actually goes small.
Yeah.
And
trapping Lane
in the box.
And it also creates, trapping him in the box creates this like this villain, this villain to match the heroic Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
Where they're basically creating like a supervillain in him.
Yes.
Because you can see once he's been trapped, he's even more dangerous. He's like a tiger in a cage now. And that's a great sequence. Having Lane established that way is why it's at my number 4.
Yeah. And the thing I love about Renner in this movie and also in Ghost Protocol is he serves as the one who's constantly questioning Ethan, which we don't have in the later movies. We have Renner constantly saying like, I don't know if this is a good idea. Like, I don't know if I trust you. Like, I'm on your side, but what about this? And what about that? And you know, Ethan's
he's a good foil.
He's a very good foil. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's able to be both serious and intense and also very funny.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of bummed that Renner didn't continue on in the series. It probably would have been too many guys, you know, the kind of balance would have been off, but it really works for Rogue Nation.
In Ghost Protocol, he's much more serious.
Yeah.
And then in Rogue Nation, we get to see a bit more of that humor as well.
When I was at a particular trailer company, we had the movie because we were doing a trailer for it. It didn't end up finishing, but we were working on the film. And what people don't know about the plane sequence in the opening is that they had come up with this sequence, shot the sequence, and then didn't know where it was going to go in the movie. So there were different versions of the movie where it went at the end, it was in the middle. They didn't have the connective tissue of Benji in the grass and Renner in the headquarters talking to him. They didn't have all of that stuff. They just had Ethan on the wing, and then Benji opened the door, the other door, all that stuff, and then it takes off. Right. And in post, they figured, okay, there'll be this nerve gas that he's trying to steal, and that'll connect in the when he gets his directive, and they'll figure out how to get him on the plane. They didn't even have the bit of him running on top of the building and then jumping on the plane. And
wow.
Yeah. And so they literally just shot this sequence and then had to figure out how to make it part of the film and make it make sense. And what they did really works, you know, and you're right. The payoff is like, it's like kind of minimal. He straps himself to this thing and then takes off into the into the opening credits. But that's just a funny little tidbit that is not really common knowledge, but it is now. Okay, what's your number 3 pick?
Number 3 is Ghost Protocol.
Yeah, me too.
Brad Bird, again, 4th movie, 4th director. It has its own style. Yeah. It's a bit different. It feels like his was a bit of a continuation of what J.J. Abrams had started. Mm-hmm. Not that he was trying to copy J.J. Abrams, but it just felt more in the same world. Whereas like 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 felt fascinating.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you get the introduction of William Brandt, and you don't know whether you can trust him or not, which is a theme that gets used in other Mission Impossible films. You know, who is friend, who is foe.
Yeah.
The bombing of the Kremlin is a huge swing, you know, because, you know, that changes their world from our world. You know,
Yeah.
the Kremlin has been blown up in the Mission Impossible world, which creates all sorts of sociopolitical things and then drives the story forward in a way that doesn't exist in our world, which I really liked.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Burj Khalifa, the whole sequence. I mean, the whole, like, not just the stunt, not just him hanging off the side of the tallest building in the world with
Yeah.
like a sandstorm coming, but also they're trying to do this swap of get the diamonds and the, you know, get the swap the documents and get it scanned and
Yes.
have, you know, and
Yes.
Benji doing the mask thing, like, and oh, I get to wear a mask. Okay. You know, and like all of it simultaneously happening. And it really ramps up the pressure. And it feels like there's this pressure building as they're trying to pull this off.
Yeah.
And, you know, anything could go wrong at any point, and it really keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Yes. I definitely think Ghost Protocol is the lightest and the funniest of the series by far. It's just got such a light touch, and what Brad Bird does feels really creative and inventive from the beginning. You know, you do have your car chase through the sandstorm and all that, but a lot of the sequences feel Mission Impossible. We got our masks, we got double crossing, we got people pretending to be other people, and this gadgetry with Brandt blinking to copy the pages and then sending them, and in the suitcase, like all that stuff is so well thought of and put together, and the glove. And apparently Macquarie came on uncredited, and it was his idea to come up with the phrase "blue is glue and red is dead" for the glove, because they were actually having a hard time trying to explain it all, and he just kind of like came up with that little phrase.
Which is funny because that color combination is established in Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
The gum, you know, Asa
Yes,
lasagna,
exactly.
So it's very interesting that they play with that again.
Yeah. I think that Ghost Protocol is the first movie in the franchise where the team dynamic comes together in a much more interesting, dynamic, satisfying way, where the members of the team are characters who have kind of their own little stories. You know, Paula Patton has her own story, and she's a great addition to the team. And Benji is finally in the field, and Brandt. I miss Luther, actually. He's it's the only movie where he's really not in it until a cameo at the very end.
Right.
But I love the dynamic of the team. And even though Ethan is the one like out front, it adds so much more to the movie to have the team play such a crucial role.
It's also funny that one cameo with Ving Rhames was one of the scenes filmed in Vancouver.
Yes, it was. Yeah, in Granville Island, right?
Yeah, Granville Island. Yeah, when they're watching Ethan's wife. Yeah, that whole sequence. You know, all the Vancouver crowd lost their minds.
Yeah. Okay, what's your number 2 pick?
I might get flack for this, but my number 2 pick is Mission Impossible 1.
Okay.
The reason for it is, you know, so it's very much a De Palma movie.
I should just say that we should just say, so your number 2 is Mission Impossible 1, and your
my
first
number 1 is
Fallout. My second is Fallout, and my first is Mission Impossible 1. So let's just talk about, we could just feel free to talk about both of them. Yeah.
Okay, so
you were saying about De Palma.
It's a De Palma movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like noir-esque. It's like a slow burn at times. And the reason why it comes number 2 and not number 1, which seems like a travesty because obviously it started this series of films. It was based on a TV show. It was getting this rejuvenation with, you know, being modernized, and they originally wanted to bring back like the original actors from Mission Impossible. And they didn't want to do it because, you know, the original Jim Phelps didn't want him to be a bad guy. And there was all this stuff going on. And then apparently Tom Cruise was like rewriting like mad just to like invigorate it with some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And it comes number 2 for me because it gets a little confusing. Even rewatching it.
Yeah.
There are things that don't make sense.
Totally.
So the things that don't make sense are when Jim Phelps is telling Ethan about what happened, and you're seeing it from both Jim Phelps' made up narrative.
Yeah.
So you're seeing actual scenes of him saying the things that he's saying to Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
And then Ethan Hunt agreeing with him, but then you're seeing what Ethan believes is happening.
Yeah.
And it's a weird way to present that because you're like,
Yeah.
wait, okay, wait, which one happened?
Yes.
And then the whole thing with Job 3:16 and him going on a message board. And even when Max says, oh, the regular Job wouldn't quote scripture. So then what is the tie-in to the Bible verse, Job being a handle, and then the fact that Ethan figured it out because of the Bible, and Jim Phelps says, oh, those damn Gideons, because of the Drake Hotel.
Right.
But again, like, it never explains, if he doesn't quote scripture, then why would the Bible even matter?
Yeah.
Because he just took the name Job.
I've seen Mission Impossible like 50 or 60 times, and I could not answer any of these questions that you have. I still have no idea.
Right. Yeah. The twist of Jim being the bad guy.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, got it. But then also, why does he kill his wife? Like why does that happen? Why, after everything that has occurred?
Yeah.
So those are my
especially
problems.
when she's in it.
She's
in
in
on
it
it with him. Yeah.
Yes. That being said, it's an amazing film. It's a great way to reinvigorate a TV series that had been off for years. It has the building of the team. It has cool technology. It has great lines. You've never seen me upset. Like it has Tom Cruise having fun doing the sleight of hand stuff, and it has so many great actors, perfectly cast, like Jean Reno. I think John Voight does a great job.
Yeah.
I think all of the characters that we see from beginning to end, every single person is perfectly cast.
Yeah.
So, and the sequences that are now so well known, like the going into the room where he can't.
The Langley sequence,
The Langley sequence, and like what needed to happen there. Like apparently he had to put silver dollars in his shoes to like even himself out so he wasn't like cantilevering. And it's so great for all of those reasons.
Yeah.
And then all the reasons I said before are all the reasons why it's not number one.
Yeah. It has consistently stayed my number one for really one big reason. And that is, it's the only movie in the franchise that feels like a legit spy movie and not an action movie. Mm-hmm. It feels creepy and moody and even kind of scary at times. It just feels like a real spy espionage thriller. Mm. And yes, it does go a little overboard with the De Palma stuff, the POV, and then the Dutch angles at times, but it's pretty restrained as well compared to some of his other movies. And the guy knows how to craft a sequence. I say action sequence, but really it's not even just the set pieces. The whole thing of Ethan coming back to his hotel or apartment afterwards and spreading the glass, the broken glass on the floor with the light bulb, and finding Job, all of that stuff is really well shot and edited. It was edited by Paul Hirsch, who co-edited Star Wars, who edited The Empire Strikes Back, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, this like really classical editor.
Yeah.
And
it feels classic.
It does.
Yeah.
And by the time we get to the train finale, that CGI has held up. I mean, those VFX have held up. I could not tell at the time how they did that. Like, was Tom really on a train? Like, it both like looked kind of real and kind of fake, but they matched the wind with these wind machines that are so powerful. And
that is far more believable than John Voight being able to actually be up there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so then let's just talk about Fallout.
Okay, so Fallout seems to me like a culmination of all past efforts that led to this, for this series of movies, near perfect movie.
Absolutely.
Everything works for it. They brought in the right people, like bring in Henry Cavill for that role. Great. having the tie-in to Max again with
Yeah.
her granddaughter,
Mm-hmm.
great. Busting Lane out of the convoy, great sequence.
Yes.
Having Ethan's ex-wife come back in, great. The helicopter stunt, phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
They ratcheted up the suspense. They upped the stakes.
Yeah.
They really leaned into Lane as this like super villainy like antithesis to Ethan Hunt,
Mm-hmm.
especially like don't attack Benji. That
Yeah.
makes you immediately evil. Having Rebecca Ferguson be such a large part of that.
Mm-hmm.
All of it just works perfectly for the film, for the series.
Yep.
It's just it. I cannot think of a thing about that movie that I don't like, which is why it's at my number one.
It's easily the best sequel. Its only flaw, and it's not even the movie's fault, is kind of like what I said about why I have Mission Impossible, the first movie, at my number one, is because the first one is a spy movie and none of the other ones are spy movies. As far as like action sequels go, it's easily the best of the bunch. The filmmaking is incredible. The editing, especially in that last 40 minutes where Ethan's in the helicopter and Luther's on the ground defusing the bomb with Julia, and Ilsa and Benji are like fighting Lane, and the fighting is just brutal. But even though Ilsa gets tied up, like, she is such a badass and so tough. And the way that the film cuts back and forth, stretching out this 15 minutes of time before the bomb goes off, is masterful. I think it's Eddie Hamilton's best editing work in the franchise, and maybe even better than his work on Top Gun Maverick, which is saying something because that's a great movie.
Yeah.
But I agree. Everything, it's funny how we're talking about The Final Reckoning, and my feeling is that almost every choice that they made in that movie was wrong, but every choice they made in Fallout was right.
Yeah.
And, it's just funny how that works. I think the two kind of unsung heroes of the movie are the cinematographer, Rob Hardy. I think that Fallout is the most beautiful visually of all the Mission Impossible movies. The framing is incredible. You have a lot of shots where the characters are on the right side or the left side. There's this beautiful sequence where Ethan and Ilsa are talking. They're in France, and behind them is this like green bush. And Ilsa has this kind of greenish gray outfit, and he's got this greenish gray outfit, and the dialogue between them is just so cool. And the action sequences are so crisp and well shot. And then the other one is Lorne Balfe, the composer, who really takes the score and the theme up to a new level. Yeah. And I've listened to that score hundreds of times. I listened to it while I was writing Blind Date. I just listened to it all the time. And actually Fallout, I don't know that I've seen it more than the first Mission Impossible, but I've seen it more than any other of the sequels, and I could just watch it anytime. It's just amazing.
Yeah, that score, like weaving in the original theme, but upping the orchestral movements and like building with the action and with the suspense is just masterful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a stretch in the film basically from the Halo jump to when they're at the Grand Palais and that amazing fight sequence in the bathroom.
So good.
To then he hooks up with Vanessa Kirby's character, and I love Vanessa Kirby in Fallout. She's so great.
She's so good. And she espouses her namesake's, her grandmother, like she espouses that same energy perfectly.
I'm getting a call from Robin Collins.
He just tried to call me. Fucking guy.
Maybe he can sense that we're recording.
Yeah.
He's jealous again. From there to then they go to the White Widow's like mansion where they talk about the plan to break out Lane, and you get this incredible bit where Ethan imagines what's going to happen, and all the sound drowns out and the music takes over.
Yeah. I love how they, instead of just it being a talking head exposition of what the plan is going to be. They beat through it, and it's a whole filmed sequence of how this goes down.
Yeah. And then you get to that sequence where the convoy gets, rerouted, and then Ethan hits him and everybody's like, what the fuck? And he backs the truck up, and then they end up riding the motorcycles, and then it gets to the BMW. I mean, the movie just has this incredibly long stretch of just consistently perfect filmmaking. Yeah. Not even the action stuff, but there's one of my favorite little itty bitty moments is when he meets the White Widow and they're getting out of there, and there's this big kerfuffle. All these people are fighting, and Ethan's like fighting these guys, and he holds this guy, and she takes out this blade and stabs the guy. And then they exchange this little look. She does this little eyebrow raise, and it's just this like little beautiful character moment mixed in with all this other stuff. And then of course Henry Cavill like reloading his arms in the bathroom fight.
Yeah.
And then Ethan being genuinely exhausted. The thing I love about the Indiana Jones movies is that Harrison Ford does all these amazing stunts, but he's also like exhausted at the end of it. And too many superhero movies, they just keep going and going and going without showing any sign of exhaustion. And I love that Ethan in that bathroom fight, he's just kind of like, all right, well, fuck, I'm just exhausted. I'll just like tackle you into this pillar and just try whatever I can to defeat this guy.
Yeah, it becomes like brawling. It's not like a choreographed fight anymore. It's just it's just survival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a movie I could watch anytime. And those two movies, Fallout and the first Mission Impossible, they're just so great. Yeah. All right. So why don't you go through your list from 8 to 1?
Okay. So starting at 8 and going to 1. At number 8, Mission Impossible 2. Number 7, Mission Impossible 3. Number 6, Dead Reckoning. Number 5, Final Reckoning. Number 4, Rogue Nation. Number 3, Ghost Protocol. Number 2, Mission Impossible. And number 1, Fallout.
For me, number 8 to 1. 8 is Mission Impossible 2. 7 is The Final Reckoning. 6 is Dead Reckoning. 5 is Mission Impossible 3. 4 is Rogue Nation. 3 is Ghost Protocol. 2 is Mission Impossible Fallout. And 1 is the first Mission Impossible. The great thing about this series is, even though I kind of hate 2, there's stuff in it that's good and worthwhile. And I could see why people love 2. There are action fans who think 2 is the best of the series. And, I think overall, if this is the final one, I think they've done a great job. And it's, Fast and Furious started out as just kind of like a whatever action movie. And then through like 4, 5, 6, 7 got to be like really great. And then like went completely off the fucking rails, and to the point where like I just kind of lost interest. But I've never lost interest in Mission Impossible, and I think that's
for a 30-year run or 29-year run.
Yeah,
it's impressive that it's remained prescient, and it's remained accessible, and it's remained as something that people will still flock to the theater to go see.
Yeah. Okay, Mike, thanks so much for being here again. I love having you on. I'll see you next time.
Can't wait.
All right. See you, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye. There you go. All 8 Mission Impossible movies ranked by us. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, comment, share VHS Revolution with your friends. I'm working on getting to 4,000 watch hours. That's my big goal. Thank you for supporting me, and I'll see you next time.